What is the biggest prerequisite for marriage in America today? Is it love, compatibility, shared values? The data suggests it's none of those. The single greatest predictor of whether an American will get married is their income. For centuries, marriage was the foundation upon which you built a life. Today, it has become the prize you get for having already built one. This is the story of how marriage became a luxury good. You may have heard of the marriage premium, the idea that married couples are financially better off. They have higher net worths and more stable incomes. For decades, this was presented as a benefit of marriage. But modern data tells a different, more troubling story. It's not that marriage makes you wealthy. It's that wealthy people are the ones who are getting married in the first place. Consider this: a 2020 study from the Pew Research Center revealed a stark divide. Among Americans in the top 10% of income earners, 64% are married. In the bottom 25%, only 24% are married. This isn't a coincidence. It's a sorting mechanism. Marriage is no longer the starting line for adulthood for the average American. It's the finish line for the financially successful. So why is this happening? The first and most obvious barrier is the soaring cost of entry. We're not just talking about the wedding itself, though that's a part of it. The average cost of a wedding in the United States, according to the Knot, now exceeds $30,000. That's more than half the median individual income in America, spent on a single day. But the real barrier isn't the party. It's the unwritten social expectation that a couple must be financially set before they tie the knot. You're expected to have a stable career, minimal debt, and a down payment for a house saved up. This expectation is a historical anomaly. For previous generations, marriage was often a union of two people with very little, who would build their wealth together. Today, it's increasingly a merger of two already established financial entities. If you haven't achieved that status, you are, in the eyes of the unspoken social contract, not ready for marriage. This expectation of financial stability crashes directly into two monumental roadblocks for millennials and Gen Z. The first is student debt. As of 2023, over 43 million Americans are saddled with federal student loan debt, with the average balance sitting at over $37,000 per borrower. For those with advanced degrees, often a prerequisite for a stable career, that number can easily be in the six figures. This debt is a multi-pronged attack on family formation. It craters your debt-to-income ratio, making it harder to qualify for a mortgage. It siphons off hundreds, sometimes thousands, of dollars a month that could have gone towards savings for a wedding, a down payment, or starting a family. And psychologically, it's a ball and chain. How can you commit to building a life with someone else when you feel like you're starting to race 100 miles behind the starting line? The second, and perhaps even more insurmountable hurdle, is the American housing crisis. A home has always been the symbolic and practical centerpiece of the American family. But look at the numbers. In 1980, the median home price was about $47,000. The median household income was about $18,000. A house cost roughly 2.6 times the annual household income. Fast forward to today, the median home price nationally is hovering around $400,000, while the median household income is about $75,000. That means a house now costs over 5.3 times the annual household income, more than double the ratio from a generation ago. This isn't just an inconvenience. It fundamentally breaks the sequence of life events. The dream of get married, buy a house, have kids is impossible when the second step is a financial fantasy for a huge portion of the population. Young people are forced to cohabitate longer, delay marriage, or abandon the dream of homeownership entirely, all of which destabilizes the very idea of family formation. So, what is the ultimate result of this economic filtering? It's the creation of a new, self-perpetuating class divide. When only the economically successful can afford the stability of marriage, the benefits of that stability, shared resources, dual incomes, and the ability to pass on wealth to the next generation, become concentrated at the top. This creates a vicious cycle. Children of stable, married, high-income parents are given every advantage to become high-income adults who can then afford to get married themselves. Meanwhile, those from lower income, less stable backgrounds are locked out of the very institution that could provide a pathway to stability. Marriage is no longer a great equalizer. It has become an engine of inequality, sorting Americans into two distinct classes, the married and wealthy, and the unmarried and struggling. The decline of marriage in America is not a moral failing. It is an economic one. It is a rational response to a system where the barriers to entry have been raised to an impossible height for millions. Love may be free, but the stability required to build a life on it now comes at a very high price. The question we must ask ourselves is not why aren't people getting married, but what have we done to our society that they no longer can?